On the night the plane left, the sky was calm and clear. The stars were bright. A large passenger jet climbed into the dark, a small point of light ascending into the vastness. Below, the sea was dark and moved in a slow, steady rhythm. People sat on their seats inside the aircraft, their faces lit by the small screens in front of them, their faces lit by the glow of their phones. They spoke in low voices, a quiet murmur filling the cabin. It carried families going home. It carried workers heading to new jobs. It carried hopes. It carried small, carefully packed bags. It carried plans for the next day, and for all the days after that. The flight was Malaysia Airlines MH370. It left the bright lights of Kuala Lumpur behind. Its path was set for Beijing, a journey it had made many times before. The time was late, just after midnight on March 8, 2014. Below, the sprawling city lights turned into thin, golden threads, and then they too disappeared into the black. The plane moved smoothly over the Gulf of Thailand, a metal bird in the deep night. For a short time, everything was normal. All was as it should be. The pilot spoke to the ground. Then something changed. The plane, this vessel of lives and dreams, seemed to simply vanish from the story it was supposed to be in. The routine radio calls went quiet. The blip on the air traffic controller's radar screen disappeared without a word. The last words from the cockpit were calm.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Those were the final sounds heard by air traffic controllers in Malaysia just before the plane was scheduled to cross into Vietnamese airspace. The handover was meant to be seamless, a routine procedure, but the plane never checked in with the controllers in Vietnam. It simply went dark. The transponder, the device that broadcasts the plane's identity and altitude, stopped transmitting. MH370 became a ghost, unseen by the normal systems that keep our skies safe. Military radar offered a faint trail. It suggested that the plane did not simply fall from the sky. Instead, it seemed to make a sharp, deliberate turn to the west, veering far from its intended path to Beijing. This was not the behavior of a plane in simple distress. This was something else, something that defied easy explanation. The radar track showed it flying for another hour, a silent shape moving across the screen. It headed out over the Andaman Sea and disappeared from radar range for the final time. As the sun rose, the reality became terrifyingly clear. An entire Boeing 777 was missing. The first search began in the South China Sea, where it was last seen on civilian radar. Boats cut through the waves. Planes scanned the vast blue surface from above, but they were looking in the wrong place. New radar data and faint satellite pings pointed to two vast arcs of possibility, one to the north and one to the south. After ruling out the north, attention turned to the remote southern Indian Ocean. The focus of the world shifted to a vast, lonely patch of the southern Indian Ocean, west of Australia. A place of powerful winds and colossal waves, far from shipping lanes or land. The search began fast and with great urgency. Dozens of ships left ports. Military planes from many nations flew exhausting patrols, eyes scanning the churning waves. They used sophisticated maps, complex mathematical models, the faint traces of those satellite pings. They used hope, driven by duty to the families who waited. Many countries joined the search. They shared images, intelligence, and search assets. For weeks, observers spotted objects that became shipping containers, then debris of another kind. Each potential find brought a sharp intake of breath, then disappointment. The search grew into the largest and most expensive in aviation history. They found nothing on the surface. The effort moved underwater. Submersibles and robotic drones descended into the abyss. They scanned the seabed with sonar, painting mountains and trenches below. With slow precision, they covered huge areas, yet the wreckage remained hidden. After years and 120,000 square kilometers, the primary search was suspended. The sea kept its secret. Machines hummed, sonar pinged, experts analyzed. The deep answered with a profound, humbling silence. With no wreckage and no black boxes, an information vacuum was filled with theories. People tried to explain the unexplainable. Some spoke of catastrophic mechanical failure, a fault that cascaded, a fire in the cockpit or in the cargo hold, incapacitating the crew and leaving the plane on autopilot until fuel ran out. Some whispered of a hostile act, a hijacking, or terror. Another theory focused on the pilot, the strange turn, the deliberate disabling of communications, signs of human intervention. Some speculated one pilot flew it south. From mechanical failure to pilot suicide, every idea met the same wall. No clear, verifiable proof. Tantalizing clues, branching paths, no final answer. The truth slipped through their fingers. While the world theorized, the families of the 239 lived with a new, profound silence. Parents waited for their children. Children waited for their parents. They sat beside empty chairs and stared at phones that would never ring. Photos kept faces present. Families wanted one clear fact. They wanted to know where the plane slept. The slow, agonizing wait wore them down. Each report sparked fragile hope, then was extinguished days later. The cycle of hope and despair was a quiet torture, an ambiguous loss with no goodbye. Each dead end added another layer to a deep, enduring sorrow. Sometimes the ocean gives up a fragment of its secret, a gray, barnacle-encrusted piece of metal on a distant beach. In Mozambique, on Réunion Island, a flaperon, part of a wing, found by locals, confirmed as Boeing 777, serials matched to the missing plane. Each piece proved a violent end at sea, but none told us why. A long, quiet, modern mystery. A plane that left on a calm night did not come home. Maps and pings show a ghost path, an electronic echo that traces a final, lonely journey. It is the people who keep the memory alive. They tell their names. They mark the dates. They ask the world not to forget the 239 souls. We end where we began, with the open sea and the wide sky. The waves touch the shore. The wind moves gently. A question hangs in the air. In an age of constant connection, how can an entire airplane simply disappear? We do not have the full answer. We have faces and names. We have a map with a very large blank space on it. We are left with patient hope that one day more light will come to this dark place. A story with its final pages torn out. Until that day comes, we can only listen to the wind. We can listen to the sea. We can remember the flight that never landed. Where did they go? The sky is silent. The ocean is deep. The question remains,